Clear? Good afternoon, everyone. So, in today's class, basically, what we are going to do is we are going to see Peter Drucker's management by objective. And in addition to that, we are going to see MIS, PERT, and CPM. These are three topics. If you again see, it is there as part of our paper 1 syllabus. Getting the point here. So, paper 1 syllabus, again, when we say, just give me a minute here. Let me just open the document. So, introduction, administrative thought, behavior, and then accountability, administrative law, development, personal, public policy tools. Yes, chapter 11 in paper 1 syllabus, if you see, techniques of administrative improvement, organization and methods, work study and work management, e-governance and information technology, that we have already taken under different bureaucracy, etc. There we have already mentioned it. Then if you see, you have management aid tools like network analysis, MIS, PERT, and CPM. Work study, work management, organization, O&M, etc. We will take it up again. It's very, very static topic. Nothing dynamic about it. I will either give it as handouts or I'll put up a video in YouTube channel. One or this I will do. Clear, people? So need not worry about that. So this aspect is what we are going to cover here. Now, automatically a question will come. Sir, why are we doing Peter Drucker now? I thought all the thinkers were over. And why are we doing MIS, PERT, and CPM here? What is the reason? Because we were doing PSUs under paper 2. The only reason being that whatever is the way forward mentioned कि आगे PSU को कैसे बेहतरीन बना सके, how to make PSUs better, whatever suggestions have been given, that is explained using these theories. Getting the point here. So there again in PSUs also one of the recommendations under Arjun Sengupta committee was to move towards MIS. And when we talk about MOU, that PSU should be signing MOU, etc. There also the idea is what? The idea is management by objective. So we will be visiting this, and after that, obviously, once we are done with that, we'll be taking up our next chapter. So this is my Telegram channel. Any doubts or queries you have, please post it over here. Good afternoon, Satish. Good afternoon, Suganya. So we are continuing with our discussion, management by objectives, which is additional content. Let us see. The concept of management by objective was first conceptualized by Drucker, that is Peter Drucker, in his book, The Practice of Management. Though thinkers like James O. Mackenzie, Bernard Fayol, Foley, etc. wrote on the subject, but they did not use the term management by objective, but each underpinned its philosophy in their writings. It was Drucker who coined the term in 48-51 and made numerous contributions to its philosophy. The idea generated considerable interest in business organizations and public administration. Why? What do you mean by management by objective? MBO. Objective का मतलब, simple मतलब क्या है? Simplest meaning, it simply means what is the target. What is the target? And you are managing all your administration, everything, only with one focus to achieve this target. Everybody is very clear, and this target is again something which is quantifiable and verifiable. Profit, loss, cost of operations, net profit, turnover, earnings before income, paying income taxes, everything. That means these are all data which anybody can see and understand. and everybody knows what is the target we need to achieve. That is the beauty of management by objective, and that is why businesses started liking it. Kyunki aasan hai. Anybody will understand. It is nothing to do with, okay, social sector, that sector, this sector, nothing. It's a plain, simple maths. Easily you can compare the values and understand whether growth is happening or whether loss is happening. MBO refers to collective setting of organizational goals, targets, and measurements. Collectively, you set a goal, set a target, and you keep measuring it. So keep on measuring it means what? We can literally decide, okay, this is the target I have to achieve means, am I going in the right direction towards achieving it? Easy, because it's quantity is there, it's a data, it's an akhada. Clear, people? Drucker argued that management characterized by ineffectiveness and misdirection should be replaced by MBO. He wrote that an effective management must direct the vision and efforts of all the managers towards a common goal. It must ensure that the individual manager understands what results are demanded of him. It must ensure that the superior understands what to expect of each of his subordinate managers. It must motivate each manager to maximum efforts in the right direction. अब ये तीन क्या है? When you are fixing a target like this at the beginning of the year, through an MOU, everybody knows what is the target to be achieved. Top level से लेकर bottom level तक. So, if you are going to quote Bernardier, zone of indifference. So whatever orders, it will fall within the zone of indifference. Why? Because subordinates know why the superior is giving this. Superior also know whatever orders they are giving will fall within the zone of indifference. Why? Because everybody has clarity. सब लोग सहमत है कि टारगेट के लिए हमें काम करना पड़ेगा. For achieving this target, all of us have to work collectively. That clarity is there. Clear, people? So, the superior understands, it motivates each manager, and individual manager understands. That is, individual level पर मुझे क्या करना है, collectively क्या करना है. There is complete clarity. Because it's a clearly defined target. Getting the point, people? Moving on. While encouraging high standards of workmanship, it must make them the means to the end of business performance rather than end in themselves. इसका मतलब यह है manager. Now I have given Satish a target. I am giving Suganya a target. So Satish and Suganya should work it in such a way that understanding whatever target that is being asked of them, it is not to tell that this is your target. No. I am not telling Suganya, okay, Suganya, once you achieve this target, you are done. Satish, once you achieve this target, you are done. No. They both should realize that whatever is their target, ultimately they are contributing towards the larger goal. So individual goals contributes towards larger goal. That big picture should be there. Not that I did my target, my work is over. No. Getting the idea here. Iska working example, if you actually see, it is ISRO. No doubt about it. That is the only reason why they are ready to work beyond their working hours, ready to contribute more than what is being demanded of them. Because they understand it very clearly. It is not just about launches. It is not just about the missions. It is bigger than all of this. Why? It helps in nation building. Getting the point here. He adds that each manager from senior executive to production foreman needs to clearly spell out objectives. Lay out what each manager's unit is supposed to produce and what contributions the unit is supposed to make to other units. For the MBO to work, each manager should measure performance against a goal. That is, her level per there is a clarity. Who should contribute what towards what? Her level per there is a clarity. Now, if I take this as an example, I will give you a real-time proper example now. Let us talk about Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Their target is to go for indigenous manufacture of aircrafts, fighter aircrafts. Correct. That is their target. Fantastic. Great idea. But what is the drawback here? Dependent on GE. That is General Electric company which is there in USA. They are dependent on them, on GE. For what? For engines. And this is leading to what? Delays. And those delays are making the IAF unhappy. What is happening here? We want to go for indigenous manufacture, but what is it? We are dependent on engines from outside. So whatever you are constructing, whatever you manufacture, you make this, you give it to private player, you give it to HAL, it is of no use when engines are not manufactured in the country. Getting the point? So indigenous, we cannot keep waiting. You cannot tell Pakistan, please wait, we are still manufacturing, then we will go for war. China has already marched ahead with the 6th generation aircraft. And we are still thinking 5th generation what to do. Should we manufacture it here? Should we get it from another country? So what is the reality today? This is not an option. So the automatic option for government of India is that is the end result. Getting the point here, people. We ultimately have to import. Why? This is taking its own sweet time. Tejas light combat aircraft itself took 32 years for its complete manufacture. This is the only result. So defining the target alone or even telling this is the target to be achieved, that is the target to be achieved. We know it. We have given it also. But because we have management by objective, we have very clear idea today that why is it getting delayed? We are dependent on engines. So now there is a catch. Should I wait till domestic manufacturing develops? Or what is already available in the market, ready-made, get it? That's why we go for imports. Clear, people? He said that the objective should reflect the functions of the organization and should be derived from the goals of the organization. True. So it should be derived from the goals of the organization. What objectives you want to achieve. That is at the manager level. मैनेजर लेवल पर आपके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स क्या होगा, ये किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा? दिस विल डिपेंड ऑन द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. ऑलराइट, मूविंग ऑन. The MBO substitutes management by domination with management by self-control. That is the highlight. Superior need not keep on telling the subordinate, do this, do this, do this. No, already everybody knows. Everybody knows what is my target. I know my target. Adarna knows her target. Satish has his target. So everybody knows what they have to do. So no need of constantly telling it to Abarna, Abarna, do this, do this, do this, because she already knows what is her target. Drucker said that each manager should develop and set the objectives of the unit. That means I will be responsible for my small team. Abarna, her team. Satish, his team. Suganya, her team. Development of objectives is a part of the manager's responsibility. Every manager should responsibly participate in the development of objectives in the higher unit of which he is a part. The greatest advantage of MBO is that it makes possible for a manager to control his own performance. Self-control means stronger motivation, desire to do best, higher performance goals, and broader vision. If you remember the linking pin model, this is the main organization. This is the team of Satish. So Satish knows what is the contribution. Oh my God. Satish knows what is his team's contribution. And Satish is a member of the larger organization. Satish is the superior here. But a member in this organization. So Satish will know what he has to do for this team. Satish also knows what is his contribution. What is his contribution to the organization? What is his contribution to the team? He knows it very clearly. And whatever he is doing to his team or doing to the organization, it is all based on what? Self-control. Why? Because he is aware of company's goals. Any doubts so far, people? MBO gives individual strength and responsibility and at the same time gives common direction of vision and effort, establish teamwork and harmonize the goals of the individual with the state. So that is the idea. So summary it is. So it will put all the goals together, put all the efforts together in the same direction, taking it further forward. So that's all about MBO. All right, management by objective, which is the thing that is being said mostly for PSUs. Now we are coming to network analysis, CPM, PERT, and MIS, which, to be very, very honest, are topics that comes under management or business administration. So why are we discussing about this then? Because public administration should be run like a business. When we say, this is the idea behind it. You let us use principles of the management and put it in, so as to improve its working. India has been very, very late in realizing this, but nowadays we are fully into it. Like I told you already, even if you see simple things like Aadhaar, not Aadhaar, biometric attendance. I know Aadhaar is involved there, but still let us put the proper word here. Biometric attendance in central government office or e-office, where all the files have been made electronic. It's all management science only. Biometric attendance is already there in private companies since a very long time. Now we are adopting it in public sector. Or files also being transferring. You'll never go to a corporate office, Tata, Infosys, the foreign companies, whatever are the Deloitte, Dell, Wells Fargo, etc. Wherever you go, you will not find one big cupboard with old files with a lot of dust and dirt. You will never find it. Why? Everything is in the system. So whatever private people are doing it today, government organizations in India do it tomorrow. Simple. Whatever private, so it's always what we see in India is private players show the way. कि भैया आ जाओ हमारे तरफ आ जाओ, हम ये कर रहे हैं अभी, तुम भी आ जाओ. We catch up very slowly, but we are catching up. Getting the point here. So let us briefly see what is network analysis, CPM, PERT and MIS. Network analysis. Network analysis is a project management technique used to plan, schedule and monitor projects by breaking them into tasks and showing dependencies between them. It helps in organizing resources efficiently, reducing delays and optimizing cost. Sorry, not this. This, if you actually see, is the simplest example of a network analysis. What is the target? I want to go for indigenous manufacture. Why I am going to reduce my defense imports? That is the ultimate objective. But here I can see what is the cost involved. Dependent on GE for engines, there are delays. Especially post-corona, there has been a lot of delay in acquiring engines from GE company. So I can see the delay here. It's like a breakup into flowchart and then seeing, okay, where is the issue? Issue is in acquiring the engine. Then what can we do? We can go for import, which is what we are doing now. And because of this, IAF is happy. Because of this, IAF is clear, people. So let's see its key features. Identifies relationships between different project activities, helps in determining the shortest possible time for project completion. So I want latest aircraft. For latest aircraft के लिए मैं क्या कर सकता हूं? When I think about that, what is the latest aircraft? Should I go for this or should I go for that? Which will take the shortest time? Definitely imports. I have the option of importing the Sukhoi 57 from Russia. Correct. Or I can go for USA J-35 or France Rafale. Multiple options are there. All I have to do is get a deal signed. Within 1 year, it will get signed. I can start getting the aircrafts within the next year. 2 years, it will happen. But by no stretch of imagination, within 2 years, we will be able to manufacture engines indigenously. Getting the point here. Moving on. Used in large-scale projects such as infrastructure development and industrial planning. Very large-scale projects only you use this, because the idea here is to get a breakup. What is the job of each unit? What is their contribution? Where the project will get stuck? What is the shortest possible time needed to complete this? All of this will be visible there. That is network analysis. In the network analysis again, there are multiple ways of doing it. One way is what? Example, the Mumbai Metro construction, which is again, what is the shortest possible way? Which are the companies involved here? How much time will be taken for the completion? That is shown here. Now, another version of your network analysis will be what? The Mumbai Metro project involved various activities such as land acquisition, civil work, track laying, electrical setup, station construction and testing. Network analysis was used to coordinate multiple teams and ensure timely completion of the project. That's the beauty there. So for each activity, the breakup will be given. That is land acquisition, civil work, track laying, electrical setup, station construction and testing. Each activity will be put in blocks. Like flowchart, like blocks it will be kept. So in one particular block, who are the players involved? Let us bring them together. That is network analysis. Networking. Milana. Milkar kaam karna. That is the beauty there. You will very easily you will be able to find where the work is getting stuck, what is the reason, bring all the relevant players, let us get it done. Critical path method. CPM is a project scheduling technique that helps identify the longest path of dependent activities, known as The critical path, which determines the minimum time required to complete a project. So longest path and minimum time, those are the two things involved here. But in that, again, you must understand, when we talk about a critical path here, the main focus is what? Minimum time. Minimum time, bringing in the right amount of players here to ensure that the work goes smoothly. Key features: suitable for projects with well-defined activities and durations. Everything is well-defined. That means we know this much, this project will take this much amount of time. This will take this much amount of time. We know each activity, each stage, how much time it will take. Can I use HAL's example here? Absolutely not. Why? Because I don't know when the engine will get manufactured. I don't know when with France we will sign a new deal, or when with USA we will sign a new deal, or when with Russia we may sign a deal. I have no idea, no andaza of these things. But let us say I want to build a railway bridge in Jammu and Kashmir. Then will I be able to know the time? Absolutely yes. Why? Because all the activities are within my control. Correct? National Highway Authority of India, Border Road Organization, Indian Army, all organizations are under me. I can question each one of them. How much time will you take? How much time will you take? How much time will you take? Okay, you will do this, you will do this, you will do this. Everything is defined. Everybody knows what is their individual contribution. Everybody has told me how much time they will take. So for each one of them, I give them their assigned task, assigned duties, and the time. I'll get to know when it will get over. Easy peasy. Let's take it up a little more in detail. Helps in identifying activities that cannot be delayed without affecting the project deadline. Assists in resource allocation and project monitoring. Example, construction of the Chenab Bridge, Jammu and Kashmir. The Chenab Bridge, the world's highest railway bridge, required precise scheduling. Why? First of all, a hot spot for terrorism. So we cannot take our own sweet time, hum apna hi waqt le lenge. That you cannot do there. You need precise scheduling. Each defined target you have to keep. Okay, ये कब तक खत्म हो जाएगा, ये कब तक करेगा, ये कब तक करेगा. We need it. Due to difficult terrain and extreme weather conditions, CPM helped in sequencing tasks such as foundation laying, pillar erection, arch installation, and rail track laying. The critical path included activities that directly influenced project completion time, ensuring timely execution. That was the beauty of it. Why? See, Chenab, the world's highest railway bridge, obviously it was in news because obviously world's highest railway bridge. That is one reason. Second reason, what it was? On time completion. In India, a project completed on time, that too in an area where geography was not in our favor, weather not in our favor, security wise, terrorism hotspot, infiltrators coming from Pakistan side, none of this were in our favor. Still we completed it. Why? Because everywhere we knew what precise time we need to complete it, that everything defined. Easy. Coming to program evaluation and review technique. PERT is a project management tool used for projects with uncertain activity durations. We have no idea about the time. HAL, we can put it over here. It employs probabilistic time estimates to predict completion time. Key features are: uses optimistic time O, most likely time M, and pessimistic time P to estimate task durations. O is optimistic, M is most likely, P is pessimistic time. That means it will basically say from year to year. That is, we are expecting somewhere between 2030 to 35, we will be able to have our indigenous manufactured aircrafts. But it can go up to what? 2050 also. Simple. Why? Engine is not manufactured here. Until and unless India manufactures engine here, there is no point. Simple logic. Passenger aircrafts are there. Correct. Indigo, Air India, Indian Airlines or whatever. Now, their engines, they come from where? Abroad. Passenger aircraft engine itself, when you are not in a position to manufacture in India, how the hell are you even going to manufacture critically important fighter aircraft engine? Air engine is what, passenger aircraft engine is what? That is like our Mamuli car engine. Normal car, Tata, Maruti, etc. Correct. Only if you can manufacture that, we can expect to go for the higher version. Basic version itself is not here. Clear, people? Helps in managing uncertainties and risks in project timelines. Useful for research, development and space missions where exact task durations are difficult to predict. Example, Chandrayaan 3 mission by ISRO. Chandrayaan 3 faced uncertainties due to technical complexities and external factors such as weather and component testing. PERT was used to estimate the time required for activities such as design, component testing, assembly, launch operation, and space maneuvering. This technique allowed ISRO to prepare for delays and adjust schedules dynamically. Chandrayaan, Gaganyaan, all these we never know. So we use PERT technique there. Where we know exact time, we use CPM, critical path method. Coming to management information system, which was again suggested that India should move in the case of PSUs towards a management information system. अब वो क्या है? MIS is a system that collects, processes and presents data to help managers in decision making. It ensures smooth functioning of operations by integrating various business functions. Key features are supports real-time decision making by providing accurate data, enhances efficiency by automatic routine process used in sectors such as banking, railways, healthcare and manufacturing. Example, Indian Railway Passenger Reservation System. Indian Railways uses MIS to manage its vast passenger reservation system. The system processes millions of bookings, cancellations and seat allocations daily. MIS helps in checking seat availability in real time, allocating seats and generating passenger name records, tracking revenue, train occupancy and operational efficiency. Matlab, MIS's significance is real-time data. So how can we use it for PSUs? It will show now if you click onto the PSU's dashboard, it will show what is the profit, how much are running at a loss, what is the operational cost, net turnover. All this data you will get real time. You can make a decision on it. Quick decision making based on real time data. So nothing like you will wait till full 1 year to see whether the PSU is doing a good job or a bad job. 2 महीने के अंदर या 2 हफ्ते के अंदर आप कह सकते हैं, 1 महीने देखो आप सही से काम नहीं कर रहा है. You can tell them. After 1 month, still no change, 2 months no change, 3 months no change, still running at a loss. You can pull them up. What are you people doing? 3 months the PSU is running at a loss. What is happening here? You can directly question them. पहले ये possible ही नहीं था. पूरा 1 साल के बाद you will get a report, annual report you will get, where they will tell, we did this, we did that, so we run into loss. So you don't have to wait for the whole year now to evaluate whether a PSU is doing a good job or a bad job. MIS will give you all the information needed. And it is being used in Indian Railways. Again, a PSU only. Run by the ministry directly through the Department of Railways, where real time you will get the data. Today, if the minister wants to know What is the total reservation in India today, right now, this second? Click of a mouse, he will get it. How much is the operational cost? He will get it. What is the total revenue generated till this minute? He will get it. That is the beauty here. Clear? Conclusion: network analysis helps in structuring and scheduling complex projects. You can structure and schedule. Okay, by this much time, hopefully this will get over. CPM identifies critical activities to ensure timely completion. That means it will clearly tell us where there is a possibility for time delay. It will show. So you can take preventive actions accordingly. PERT handles uncertainties in project timelines, especially with space missions, defense missions, or missions where we are dependent on other players, external players, foreign players. PERT. MIS enables organizations to make data-driven decisions efficiently. So PSUs today are using MIS. Any doubts here, people? Any questions? Okay. So next we are starting with our chapter 4, Union Government and Administration. From this point onwards, we will be discussing all the practical aspects of Indian administration. Whatever happens, my request it is, can we use MIS in HAL? Satish, it is not that we cannot use it. If you want, you can use it even in HAL also. But what is the problem here? Real-time data I need, correct? Real-time data where I need to know where are they when they are construction, how much more time, etc. will be required. I need to know. Now, if you are, okay, now you are asking me, I am working with HAL, you are coming and asking me, okay, give me all the data. And I am the HAL chairman. I am telling you, but sir, I am waiting for the engine. Then you are telling me, okay, when will the engine come? And I am telling, I don't know. I am going and buying it or what? Your government only has to go and do it. What will I do here? I can only sign the document. I can only send you a request. You please go and put the pressure on the company and get the engine on time. Then I will tell you when I can finish it. You first give me the engines first. So saw the point here. Real-time data to be generated. You need the work to happen, right? When work itself is not happening, what real-time data are you going to generate? Got the point here? Work itself is not happening. HAL chairman is there, engineering team is there, they are all sitting here like this. When you ask them, why are you not doing any work? Where is my aircraft? When you come and ask me, I am like, you want aircraft? Give me the engine first. You want data? Get me the engine. Then I will tell you what and all challenges are there. Because getting the engine is only one of the challenge. Mind you. Because after you get the engine, what you have to do? You have to do trial runs. One aircraft, after you manufacture, put the engine, you have to do at least 2000 hours of flight testing minimum. Just to ensure, okay, whether this will work in rain, whether this will work in this month, that month, when it is temperatures are high, is there any instability? So much of trial and testing you have to do before the aircraft is approved for flying for the Indian Air Force. Where will I use it then? So I have no idea. So you give me the engine, it is only one of my trouble is getting over. Manufacturing it should pass through different tests. And each time when a new trouble starts, I have to make the correction, again take it up and test it, again bring it back down. It will take years together. So uncertainty is involved there. The timeline is not defined. Data is not defined. What happens? MIS has limited application. Instead, in e-office, if you actually see, you can see MIS present over there. Why? Because if you are an IAS officer now, when the file came, how many days it is with you, how many files you have disposed of on an average, all this real-time data I will get. MIS. I can easily see how good or bad your performance is. How quickly you take a decision. I can easily see it. Why? No external players. Reservation system in Indian Railways, why is MIS working there? So everything is ours only. Passengers are ours. System is ours. Data is ours. Train is ours. Ticket is ours. Nothing we are dependent on anybody, on any factor. All the real-time data I will get. Getting the point here. So MIS can only be used in those areas where data is available ready-made. We don't have to wait for the data. PERT is used where when we are uncertain. Space missions, defense missions, we are not at all having a clue when it will be ready. So we wait. CPM, shortest time, how can we complete a project? Where we know what is each person, how much time will they take. Based on that, we will say, okay, these many agencies are involved, this much of time will be required. Okay, that is CPM. Any doubts? All right. Now, like I told you, union government and administration onwards, it is basically polity revision on one side and application of polity. You will be learning about president is there, prime minister is there, council of ministers is there, all that it is there. But we will be actually seeing cases from history where the president's office did a good job and the president's office did a bad job. The different prime ministers, cabinet secretary, prime minister's office, central secretariat. These are then obviously the Indian judiciary, the Supreme Court, its various decisions, etc., its evolution. These are the various things that will be going through here, the practical applications of it. Clear, people? So we will start this chapter with after a short break. Starting with union government, will start again. If you see, none of this is nothing will be new to you. You would have already heard it. So 14:49 it is. We'll meet at 3 p.m. again. 3 p.m. onwards, we'll continue. Take a short break. So now let us start with union government and administration. What and all comes under here? India is a federal state. There are two types of government, union government and state government. State government and administration is our fifth chapter. That time you will see it. Union government constitutes President, Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister, Parliament, Supreme Court. We will be looking into each one of this. Followed by that, we'll be also covering Central Secretariat, Cabinet Secretary, PMO, and the Cabinet Committees, Ministries, Departments, Boards, Commissions, Attached Offices, and Field Organization. Now, this is the next thing that I wanted to tell you. That is, if you remember again in paper 1, you have a chapter under organizations where we talk about ministries and departments, corporations, companies, boards and commissions, ad hoc and advisory bodies, headquarters and field relationship, regulatory authorities, public-private partnership. This we will be covering largely here. Clear? Executive, permanent and political. Permanent executives are the institution of civil servants. Political executives are the temporary ones who are elected by the people directly or indirectly. Means what? You all are actually going to give an exam. Once you clear the service, once you join the service, you will be what is called the permanent executive. Means what? Until and unless you do a Himalayan blunder, you will not be removed from the service. You won't keep changing every 5 years. But in the case of political executives, what do we know? They'll keep changing every 5 years. There is no way it is possible that you will always have the same set of ministers. Ministries at least will keep changing. Getting the point here. That is the reason why sometimes when newly students, aspirants, they get into the service, etc., they will realize, they would have seen it in the movies about transfer, etc. But in the movies, they show even transfers also very colorfully, as if it's a great thing, they show it. But जब हकीकत में ट्रांसफर मिलते हैं तभी समझ में आता है कि this is not an easy thing. Because transfer means shifting. और shifting का मतलब क्या है? You need bed, you need your cot, you need your fridge, you need your TV, you need your kitchen utensils. ये सब लेकर एक नया शहर विजिट करना. I don't think any movie till date has showed that chakkar properly. Loading it, then unloading it, unpacking it. Getting the point? So initial days when they get this transfer because of one bad minister or one bad MLA, some of them get so frustrated, they give their resignation and they come out of the service. That happens because simple thing, this many services, so many IAS, IPS officers scattered along so many districts in our country. There is no way to know कौन कब resign कर किस वजह से गया. Statistics also are very, very, very low. But it is true. And I would say it is a very bad idea because politicians will keep changing, party will keep changing. You have to wait. You have to be ready for the waiting game. ये waiting game सिर्फ UPSC के exam के लिए ही नहीं है. This is your career. The waiting game. Here, if it is about 1 year, prelims, mains, interview, there it could be 5 years, there it could be even 10 years or even more than that. Waiting and bidding for your time. Clear, people? Moving on. The President. Executive powers. Article 53. All executive powers of the Union are vested in the President. The executive power of the Union shall be vested in the President and shall be exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with the Constitution. That through you, through the Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, also same thing. Without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing provision, the supreme command of the defense forces of the Union shall be vested in the President, and the exercise thereof shall be regulated by law. That means he can declare war and stop a war also. But the idea here is these two statements will actually seem as if what President is very powerful. No. President is or has to always work according to the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. Let us see. Article 77, Conduct of Business of Government of India. All executive action of the Government of India shall be expressed to be taken in the name of the President. The President shall make rules for the more convenient transaction of the business of the Government of India and for the allocation among ministers of the said business. Powers pertaining to administration. He is the formal head of the administration. That means even when you clear the service, everything, after your training, like I told you, once your probation, everything is done and final exams you write, that is when you will get a certificate signed by the President of India. Until then, you're only a probationer. Only after that signature falls there, you are part of the service now. Getting the point here? All officers of the union are the subordinate of the President. Executive powers includes the power of appointment and removal of the high-level functionaries of the union government. He appoints the Prime Minister. He appoints the other ministers of the union on the recommendations of the PM. So here, understand one thing, even though it says that the President can appoint and remove the high-level officers, please understand it is again based on aid and advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. He appoints the governors of the states, CAG of India, Attorney General, Chairman and members of the UPSC, Finance Commission, Election Commission, and National Commission for SC, ST and OBC. Appoints the judges of Supreme Court and High Courts. Seek any information relating to the administration of affairs of the Union. Can declare an area as scheduled area and has power to administer scheduled and tribal areas. Can create interstate council for better cooperation and coordination. Directly administers the union territories through the administrators. These are the main highlight. Clear? Just the powers, people. So let me tell you again, these are just meant for your understanding. All this portion. Because directly you're not going to get a question on this. President not only appoints but also is the dismissing authority. President can remove the functionaries as per the provisions of the Constitution. President shall exercise all his executive powers as per the provisions of the Constitution. That is, he should function according to the advice given by the Council of Ministry. Article 74. This is the idea. Like I told you, executive powers of the President is subject to the advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. Matlab, President does not have to have any power to take decisions independently when it comes to executive matters. Constitution is very clear on it. Article 74, Council of Ministers to aid and advise President. The original Constitution, Article 74 says there shall be a Council of Ministers to aid and advise to the President. Mrs. Indira Gandhi brought the 42nd Amendment in 1976, which amended the content of Article 74 as she wanted to have all the authority with the Prime Minister. 1976. That means during the emergency period, she brought this amendment. All the power should be with whom? With the Prime Minister, not with the President. Prime Minister will take all the decisions. President, you just sit there. This is what she wanted to do. But no, that also changed. The then political condition and the imposition of emergency made ways for the 42nd Amendment. After the 42nd Amendment, what happened? There shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise the President, who shall, in the exercise of his functions, act in accordance with such advice. Matlab, what did the 42nd Amendment do? President has to listen to the advice. President will not make any changes. President has to listen to the advice, come what may. This is what change Indira Gandhi brought. Later, 1978, the Janata Party came into power under Morarji Desai. Then what happened? When Janata Party government came in power, they introduced the 44th Amendment, which again amended Article 74. Original article was what? There shall be a Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister to aid and advise the President. That was the original article. Indira Gandhi made it what? Compulsorily, President will have to listen to it. What did the Janata Party do? Article 74 states there shall be a council of ministers with the prime minister at the head to aid and advise the president, who shall in the exercise of his functions act in accordance with such advice, provided that the president may require the council of ministers to reconsider such advice either generally or otherwise, and the president shall act in accordance with the advice tendered after such reconsideration. The question whether any, if so, what advice was tendered by the ministers to the president shall not be inquired into any court. Matlab, after the 44th Amendment. If so, what advice was tendered by the ministers to the president shall not be inquired into any court. Matlab, after the 44th Amendment, require the Council of Ministers to reconsider such advice either generally or otherwise, and the President shall act in accordance with the advice tendered after such reconsideration. The question whether any, if so, what advice was tendered by the ministers to the President shall not be inquired into any court. Matlab, after the 44th Amendment, after the 44th Amendment, what happened to the content of Article 74? That means, if I am the President, Satish, Suganya are part of the Council of Ministers. You give me an advice. Whatever advice you gave, I did not like it. I can ask you, just reconsider this and I send it back to you. Once it is sent back. Okay, I send it back to you. Now you are resending it back to me, either with or without any amendments. That is, either you changed it slightly or you have not made any change to it. Once you resend it back to me, I have no other choice other than approve it. That is the point here. That means the 44th Amendment brought in a new clause where it basically said that first time any advice is given, it can be sent back by the President to the Council of Ministers to reconsider it. But after such reconsideration, whatever decision is taken by the Council of Ministers, that they decided to change it, they did not decide to change it, or they made slight modification, whatever be it, once it is sent back again, President has no other choice other than giving the assent or acting in accordance with whatever decisions is taken. That means President is given that one opportunity to make some changes. The question whether any and whatever advice tendered by the ministers to the President cannot be questioned in a court of law. That is the other provision. Clear, people? Article 75, other provisions as to ministers. The Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President and other ministers shall be appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. The Minister shall hold office during the pleasure of the President. The Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the House of the People, that is the Lok Sabha. Before a minister enters upon his office, the President shall administer to him the oaths of office and of secrecy according to the form set out for the purpose in the 3rd schedule of the Constitution. Again, basic polity again, just for your information. A minister who for any period of 6 consecutive months is not a member of either House of Parliament shall at the expiration of that period cease to be a minister. The salaries and allowances of ministers shall be such as Parliament may from time to time by law determine, and until Parliament so determines shall be as specified in the 2nd schedule. 1 minute. Article 78, duties of Prime Minister as to respect the furnishing of information to the President. It shall be the duty of the Prime Minister to communicate to the President all the decisions of the Council of Ministers relating to the administration of the affairs of the Union and proposals for legislation, to furnish such information relating to the administration of the affairs of the Union and proposal for legislation as the President may call for, and if the President so requires, to submit for the consideration of the Council of Ministers any matter on which a decision has been taken by a minister but which has not been considered by the Council. Basic polity again, people, just nothing much here important from an exam perspective of public administration. Coming to President's legislative purpose, like I told you, there was nothing there where we could actually discuss like, okay, this aspect or that aspect. When it comes to President's rule, this particular chapter or this particular topic, President, We need to focus on those areas where there is a chance for question to come. Now, if you ask me what are the chances for a question to come over here, I would say it's very, 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 very less. Why? Because one major reason is since the last 10 years, we are having a single party rule, and at least till 2029, this alliance is not going to break. I know now it is a what is it, alliance based rule, whatever we are having right now. NDA government, it's with BJP as a single largest party, and other alliance partners are there. It's a coalition government basically. The presidents also, if you see, so far none of the presidents have created any controversy. They are listening to whatever the Council of Ministers are advising. Be it Draupadi Murmu or the person before that, Rajnath Kovind, they are all the same. They have just followed, okay, Council of Ministers advice have come, I will do this. That's it. So controversy surrounding president is very, very less. Therefore, the chance that president related question you may get for PABAT paper 2, it is very, very less. But it is UPSC again, you never know. Sometimes they can ask a very direct question. Clear? Taking it further forward. Article 79, president is an integral part of the parliament. Very, very important, because until and unless he gives his signature comes, a bill will not become an act. He can appoint 12 members in Rajya Sabha on the basis of having special knowledge or practical experience in the fields of science, art, literature, and social service under Article 280, under Article 80. Constitutional Amendment Act 104 2019, Anglo-Indian nomination in Lok Sabha now is done away. That is, earlier in Lok Sabha there used to be an Anglo-Indian nomination, 2 seats were there. Now that procedure itself has been what? Stopped. It is no more there. Article 85, President can summon and prorogue the session of the Parliament. President can dissolve the Lok Sabha and can also call for a joint session of the Parliament in case of a deadlock. Special address and address by the President to the Parliament. He decides the disqualification of MPs on the basis of office of profit. President's prior recommendation is required for introduction of certain bills in Parliament, for example, alteration of boundaries. Clear, people? Again, here also the same thing. It is just for your information. Veto powers. As a topic, if you ask me, this used to be a matter of controversy earlier, but not anymore. These days, we don't hear any controversy surrounding the veto power. So, veto power, veto means what? Veto by word, it means to forbid or to prohibit, to stop basically. Article 111 of the Constitution provides veto power to the president. When a bill goes to the president, then he may give his assent, withhold his assent, or send the bill back for the reconsideration of the legislature if the bill is not a money bill. Simply means what? Money bill cannot be resent back. If the parliament sends the bill back to the president with or without any change, now the president is bound to give his assent. That means once you can return it. Second time when it comes in, nothing doing, you have to give your assent. Purpose of veto is what? To prevent any hasty and ill-considered legislations by the legislature, to prevent unconstitutional legislations, to reduce the burden on judiciary. President can act as the check on executive excess. That means anything that is controversial. The government wants to pass a certain bill, which is little controversial, etc. President can put a check on that. Because otherwise what happens? Bill gets passed, then it goes to the judiciary. Judiciary strikes it down. By all that janjat. Initially itself do the needful. Game over. Clear? Increasing public faith in the office of the president. Controversial bills are nipped at the bud before they become acts. Any questions here, people? I know I went a little fast because it is plain polity here. Data related stuff we are only going to see in a while. But any doubts or any doubts here? Any clarifications that you need? All right. So, absolute veto. Withhold assent to a bill passed by the parliament. Exercise with regard to a private member's bill and government bills where the cabinet has resigned. Private member means somebody who is not a minister. That is what it simply means. Somebody who is not a minister. First thing. Second thing, cabinet has resigned. Cabinet has resigned means what? They are no more in power. Bill got passed. Bill reached the president. When the president is about to sign his sealing, the government itself is no more there. Government lost its majority. Government has changed. President will be like, okay, let us wait. Let us not sign it. That is withholding the assent. More often than not, the new cabinet will advise the president to not to give his or her assent. True. New government aa gaya. They are like, that is the old opposition is the new government today. So they will be like, hello, president, don't sign anymore. We are telling you. So president will be like, Allah, but old government told me to sign. New council of ministers will say, sorry, nothing doing. You are not signing at all. And as per the provisions of the constitution, president is bound to act according to the aid and advice of the council of ministers. So president won't sign. 1950, Dr. Rajendra Prasad withheld his assent to the Bihar Zamindari Abolition Bill, but gave in when the then Prime Minister Nehru threatened with resignation. We are now going to see this relationship's evolution. Now, this is pretty interesting, right? Imagine, bill got passed. All right. Bill got passed in the parliament. Finally, it goes to the president. President is like, nothing doing. I am not going to give my assent. And Nehru is like, if you don't sign it, I am going to resign. Enough is enough. Then Rajendra Prasad is like, fine, you don't resign. I will put my sign. Go, take. This was the relationship that time. Because everybody came from where? Everybody actually came from the same freedom movement. Correct? So it was almost like a tu me wala relationship. It is not like Rajendra Prasad saw Nehru like, oh my God, Nehru. No. Nehru also did not see Rajendra Prasad like, oh my God, the president. No, they were all like, hello, we have all sat together for the freedom movement. We are all equals here. So that was the sort of relationship in the early 50s. Getting the point here. So that is why Prime Minister threatening the president with what? I am going to resign if you don't sign it. That is the relationship. Taking it further forward, suspensive veto. Suspensive veto means to return the bill for reconsideration. Kya wahyat bill hai ye? Zara, break some changes to it. It is almost like that. What nonsense have you given here? Go, make some changes to this. How am I going to sign this? Look at this provision here. That sort of a thing. If the president passes the bill again, with or without, if the parliament passes the bill again with or without amendments, the president has to give his or her assent. Parliament passed it, reached the president. President is like, reconsider it again. But again, the parliament passes it, either with changes or without changes. But I told you already, once something goes and comes back with or without changes, now president has no choice other than giving assent to it. Who has done it? President APJ Abdul Kalam used this veto power formally when he returned the Office of Profit Bill 2006 for reconsideration. However, he had to give his assent when it was sent to him again. One of the last presidents who were very active with regard to the whole administration. He was one such president. Again, Pranab Mukherjee is also there. I'm not denying that fact. But they were that last generation, I would say, who were literally took their job seriously and looked everything from an objective angle. All right. Pocket veto. President neither ratifies nor rejects nor returns the bill, keeps the bill pending for an indefinite period. For many, this will look almost similar to what? Absolute veto. But there, that specific condition is there where you do it only when, when, what is it? If it is a private member's bill or the cabinet resigns. Here the thing is, president is not liking things being run by the government. Bill came. President is like looking here and there, not even looking at the bill that has come. President is least bothered. Indian Post Office Amendment Bill 1986 gave the executive wide powers to intercept personal communication. Simply means if I am sending a letter to Avarna, Indian government feels there is something going on there, they can open that communication and read what it is. Any parcel, any letter, if the government feels there is some activity, illegal activity involved, they will open it and see what it is. They can intercept it. This particular bill was trying to be passed during the Rajiv Gandhi government. What did the President Zail Singh do? The then President Gyani Zail Singh suggested a few changes to it, but when it did not materialize, he sat on the bill indefinitely, eventually killing the bill through sheer inaction. So in the initial stage itself, he told, see, this bill has certain problems, because that he can do, right? To communicate, Prime Minister can communicate, he can call for any information. So at the beginning stage only, he made certain suggestions. Rajiv Gandhi government did not bother only, because it is not necessary by law also for the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers to literally listen to the suggestions given by the President. Gyani Zail Singh did not like it. So when finally the bill did all the ringa roses and finally it reached him, he just sat on it. Obviously, Council of Ministers would have tried their real best to please sign it. He'll be like, no, I won't sign. Whatever you want, you people do. Because they can't do anything. You cannot actually remove the president also that easily. Provisions are there, but who will use it? Which government would want to do it, that you remove the president? Nobody wants to do it. Kept on sitting on it. Eventually, Rajiv Gandhi government collapsed. Bill also got lapsed. Got the idea? Any doubts till here? Let us compare the veto powers now. American president possesses qualified veto unlike his counterpart. Qualified veto can be overridden by a higher majority. That means qualified veto, that is if the president does not give the assent, but a higher majority in the Congress, they pass the bill again, has to give assent. Suspensive veto can be overridden if the bill is sent again to the Indian president. Truly right. Once a bill is returned and it comes back again with or without amendments, suspensive veto can be overridden. To overcome the suspensive veto of the US president, bill needs to be passed again by a higher majority. Indian president can keep the bill pending for an indefinite period without ratifying, rejecting, or sending it back for reconsideration. That means the pocket veto. That is why we say Indian president's pocket is bigger than the American president's pocket. Why? Indefinitely sit on it. Sign करोगे मालूम नहीं, कब करोगे मालूम नहीं. Will you ever sign it? That also I don't know. Bill is lying here on my table, let it lie here. No action. American president, however, has to send the bill back within 10 days for reconsideration. There is a definite timeline put up. What the Indian president is doing, American president cannot do. Within 10 days, you should take a call. Either you are signing it or you send it back for reconsideration. There is no other third way possible where you can just sit simply on it. Indian president can do that. Getting the point here. Veto over state bills. Now, this again is what I would call a PUBAD topic, proper PUBAD topic. But let me tell you one thing again. Relevance wise, if you see from relevance from a current affair perspective, very less. Earlier, a lot of controversies used to be there with regard to the state bills. Governor will keep a bill for the consideration of the president. Then how the president deals with these bills. Earlier, it used to be a huge issue. Nowadays, we hardly hear about this thing. Governor chief minister issue is there. That is a favorite topic of UPSC. But this I would say right now with the given trend what is going on of last 10 years, hardly we hear about this. Hardly we hear about any of the issues involving president and the bills coming from the state. All right. So relevance wise also importance from an exam perspective, it is again what? Very less. But again, it is UPSC. How has it evolved? Let us see with some data. Clear, people? So let us see that now. State bills are sent to the president when the governor, as per Article 200, decides to reserve it for the president's consideration. So the onus is on the governor to decide whether bill should be reserved for president's consideration. President may withhold his assent or return the bill for reconsideration. However, the constitution is silent with regard to what should be done when returned bills with or without amendments comes to the president again for assent. Governor's role ends once a bill has been reserved for president's consideration. What does it mean? Article 200 basically says, now let us say Suganya is the president, I am the governor. I pushed the bill to Suganya under Article 200. Once I push it to Suganya, it is no more my headache. It is between Suganya and the Council of Ministers headed by the Chief Minister. So here, she can give her assent, Suganya, and she can even tell them, return it for reconsideration. Two things she can do. However, if the bill comes back again to Suganya, what she should do here, Constitution has not made it clear. This is one major issue, because back then again, why didn't the Ambedkar or Nehru or Rajendra Prasad, why nobody thought about it? Because that time everybody thought we are all civilized here. Why will we create unnecessary issue for the states? Getting the point, they would have never thought in their wildest dreams that later, whoever will become the Prime Minister or Council of Ministers or whoever will become the President or whoever will become the Chief Minister and other ministers, all these people will be different. They never thought. So this is one major issue here. Normally how it is, I am the President, I am the Prime Minister, Council of Ministers are there, Suganya is the President. If I give a bill to Suganya, Suganya returns it. With or without changes, if I send it back to Suganya again, Suganya has no choice other than giving her assent at the central level. Correct? But I am a chief minister. Council of ministers are there. Governor sends the bill to Suganya. Governor's role is over. Suganya sends it back to me. I will either make amendments or without amendments. I send it back to Suganya. What to do now? God Almighty knows. As it is not clear in the constitution. Governor's role ends here. Number of state bills sent for president's consideration by the year. So 2012 it was 11, then it increased to 26, 2014 it increased to 51. But over the years, if you see, it's 48, 38, 14, it's going on declining. That means now the unwritten rule is that, nowhere as a ruling it has not been said either by Supreme Court anywhere, but the unwritten rule is that everywhere they are basically asking governors to decide. That is, give your assent. All right, you give your assent, return the bill. Once it comes back, also you give your assent. Why? Once it is done at the state level, then where it has to, what clearance it needs, then after this, it is subject to judicial review then. Bill getting passed in the state is not a big deal. Obviously, after the bill becomes an act, it will be challenged in the court. Once it is challenged in the court, what happens if the court strikes it down? End game. Why the long route? Why can't the union government get involved? Why can't the president get involved? Simple. If judiciary judiciary strikes it down, state governments will have no issues. They'll be like, oh, this problem is there. Fine, fine, fine. Same bill, if the president strikes it down, they will have a problem, and that will actually lead to what? That can actually lead to animosity towards union government. Correct? Because they know it very well that the president is withholding assent. The president is not doing it. Who is actually doing it? The prime minister with the council of ministers. So anger on the union government means anger on the prime minister and the council of ministers. Same thing if the judiciary is doing, nobody will have any issue with it. Getting the point here? Basically, it simply means what? You do this, it will be politically bad decision. Judiciary is telling what to do. We have to listen to it. Getting the point here? Same thing can lead to, in one particular case here, it can lead to clear conflict. When the president involves, between whom? Union and state government. If it is judiciary, automatically it will lead to what? Automatically it will create integration between center and state. Getting the point here? This is the only difference. Same bill it is, same nonsense it is. When judiciary says, everybody will be like, oh. When president does it, they'll be, aha, how dare you do it? Getting the point here. That is the only reason why this is drastically on the decline. And we hardly hear it because they will see. Governor also knows it well. Governor will contact the central government directly and will say that, see, these provisions are very controversial. Central government will also tell what? Give your assent. Supreme Court will call it null. You give it for now. As of this bill will become an act. Who said? Let it go to the Supreme Court level. Supreme Court will cancel it. Leave it. Don't break your head. Simple. Got the picture here. Politically, this is the reason for it. Administratively also, this is the only reason. Rather than going into a direct conflict mode with the state government, because both are two different political parties, it is like give the assent, let it go to judiciary, let judiciary deal with it. Got the point here? During the period from 1977 to November 1985, 1,130 state bills were reserved for the consideration of the president. Out of these, 1,039 bills were assented to by the president. The assent was withheld only in 31 cases, 5 cases were returned for reconsideration with the president's message, and 55 were still pending on November 22, 1985. 75% of the bills reserved for the consideration of the president relate to matters in the concurrent list and were reserved by the governor for president's consideration under Article 254 Clause 2 on the advice of his Council of Ministers. A very small number of bills during the last 35 years were reserved by the governors in the exercise of their discretion. This is the highlight. That means this is no more a controversial thing. Because this is the peak time of controversy between the union government and state government. Governor finds something is trouble. That is especially if there are two different parties. Congress at the center. At the state levels, you have other regional parties. So wherever regional parties are there or any other party other than Congress is there, governor will immediately what? Reserve it for president. Straight away. Just look at the number here. 1,130. Getting the point here. But last few years or 35 years at least, we are seeing that controversy is on the decline. Taking it further forward. President Pranab Mukherjee gave assent to 82% of the bills that he received from the states. He withheld assent for 18 bills. 12 bills were returned with the message. Out of the 5 bills that were sent from Delhi, none received assent. Whatever bills were sent from Delhi Legislative Assembly, none of them received assent. This is a classic case of what? Tussle between center and the elected government in Union Territory of Delhi. Classic case. This can be seen as part of the ongoing, never-ending tussle between the Delhi government and the central government. Finally, I will tell you, thankfully, for the people of Delhi now, the fact that the government in Delhi and the central government are one and the same, it's good news only. Finally, let us hope some semblance of administration and clarity in administration will be there in Delhi. But otherwise, always it's been tutu meme. Recently, the governor of Rajasthan did not send the bills passed by the Legislative Assembly for the assent of the president. The Administrative Reforms Commission observed that if the provision of Article 200 are given a very wide interpretation, it would lead to a large number of bills being reserved for the consideration of the president, contrary to the federal spirit of the Constitution. That is, if you give a wide interpretation to Article 200, that means whichever bill comes, this president. If every bill has to get the president's assent, means why do we need a governor? Why do we need a state administrative apparatus? There all decisions will be taken by the center only, right? This bill, yes. That bill, no. Correct. So it is against the federal nature of our constitution. Agreed, we are a quasi-federal unit. But still, all decisions or all the bills, if the assent is given to the president, you're taking away states' powers. Because president need not go by the advice given by chief minister and the council of ministers. President can take his or her decision. That is, when it comes to state bills, president has absolute powers. Even with those bills that have come back after reconsideration, president has more powers. Getting the point here. So this particular provision, that is Article 200, according to ARC, don't interpret it too widely. Use it only in exceptional cases. Clear? They also pointed out that this article must be interpreted as enabling presidential intervention only in special circumstances, such as those in which there is a clear violation of fundamental rights or a patent unconstitutionality on some other ground, or where the legitimate interests of another state or its people are affected. It further observed that this article also provides an opportunity for presidential intervention in the event of a clash with the union law. Very clear. Anything to do with fundamental rights, anything to do with unconstitutional, that is going against the constitution of the country, or it will affect the rights of another state or its people, or a direct conflict with union law. Any of these provisions are there, only then reserve it for whom? The president. Mamuli matters, decide it at the governor level itself. Use it very sparingly. Don't refer each and every bill that comes straight away to the president. Clear, people? Any doubts here? Any doubts so far? Ordinance powers. Now, this is quite interesting. And important. Clear? So here what we are going to do is, we will analyze how things are working with the union government. We will also see how this is being utilized by the state. You people already know about this. Our ordinance making powers means law making powers of the executive. President can make a law. That is what it simply means. President means understand. It is not president will get up one day and will make, okay, I love this, let me make a law. No. Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, they will advise. When is it used? When the parliament is not in session, or only one house is in session, or there is an extraordinary situation where you have to pass this law. That is the condition here. Let us look into it. Article 123, power of the president to issue ordinance. Ordinance are laws that are promulgated by the President of India. It has the same effect as an act of the parliament. It can be issued when either or one or both houses of the parliament are not in session. It helps the government to take legislative action of an urgent nature. That is, it's very, very important. The approval or disapproval of an ordinance is decided by the parliament. The fundamental reason to provide executive the law-making authority is to deal with situations which demands urgent legislative action. Ordinances are tools to meet demands of extraordinary situations. That means what should be our understanding here? Once an ordinance is made, it will have the effect of law, just like Parliament has passed it. But you need to get that bill passed by the Parliament. Otherwise, if it does not get the approval of the Parliament, it will cease to have effect. All right, this is the law. But what our governments have been doing is re-promulgating it. They will make a law. It will be valid up to 6 months. Just when they see, oh, it is going to lapse, they'll re-promulgate again the ordinance. Another 6 months they get. This is done not only at the central level, it is especially done at the state level also. Let us see. This is what is there in the Constitution. But we are more interested in what? Analyzing it. In the 1950s, central ordinances were issued at an average of 7.1 per year. A 5-judge constitutional bench observed in 1986 that there was not a single instance of the president, that is the central government, re-promulgating an ordinance. Till 1986, Supreme Court, 5-judge constitutional bench observed there is not a single case where ordinance is re-promulgated. Till 1986, that was true. Re-promulgation was unheard of. But all of that changed in the subsequent years. But this was to be proven wrong in the later years. The number of ordinances increased in the 1990s at 19.6 per year. Observe, 7.1 in 50s, 19.6 in the 90s. This also shows quality of administration declining. Parliamentary quality declining. And reduced to 7.9 per year in the 2010s. The United Progressive Alliance government, that is the UPA government, in 10 years between 2004 and 14 promulgated 61 ordinances. That means average is what? 6.1, lower than the 50s. In 2013 and 2014, Securities Laws Amendment Ordinance was promulgated 3 times. Parliament. An ordinance to amend the Land Acquisition Act was issued in December 2014 and re-promulgated twice in April and May 2015. The matter came up again in the Supreme Court, and in January 2017, a 7-judge constitution bench declared this practice to be unconstitutional. Supreme Court made it very, very clear. Supreme Court has been making it very, very clear since a very long time. That is, you shouldn't go for ordinance is fine. Same ordinance you are re-promulgating, not even putting that bill in the Parliament to discuss. No, not done. The judgment concluded that re-promulgation of ordinances is a fraud on the Constitution and a subversion of democratic legislative processes. The Indian Medical Council Amendment Ordinance was issued in September 2018, reissued in January 2019, as it was passed by only one House of Parliament in the intervening session. When did the judgment come? 2017. That is, re-promulgation is a bad thing. It is a fraud on the Constitution, subversion of democratic legislative process. Fine. What did the government stop after that? No. Government did not stop. Government still kept on going with it. Indian Medical Council Amendment Ordinance was reissued again or re-promulgated again. Why? What can the court do beyond this? Court gave its verdict, but Supreme Court judge cannot come with a stick, right? Did you re-promulgate it again? Why did you do that? That is not possible. So here, if you actually see, there is a limitation to which judiciary can hold the government accountable for its actions. Getting the point here? That accountability provision, judicial accountability of the government is actually what? Very limited. Government can still carry on with this. Why? Because they are having the majority, they are having the numbers. That is the main reason. Opposition was weak at that point of time. Getting the point here? So if the structure is weak, if it is weak, we cannot expect the process to be smooth. Structure of parliament during these years, if you see, it was weak. Why? Opposition did not have the requisite numbers. So these things were happening. When you are having a strong opposition, what will be the thing? They will demand. Getting the point here? So structure wise, if you see, things were in favoring whom? The ruling party. So they went ahead with this. Taking it further forward, there has been a steady decrease in the number of ordinances promulgated by the center since 2019. An analysis of the year-wise data on the number of ordinances shows that the highest number of ordinances promulgated by the NDA government was in 2019 when 16 of them were issued. However, the numbers have dropped since then. In 2022, for the first time in 59 years, no ordinances were promulgated. In 2023, however, the center issued the controversial the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Ordinance. So if you look at the numbers here, the Akhdas, 32, 1950, 23, 29 and 19, 34 in 1993, 32 in 96, then drops again, 12, 11, 16, and of late it's very, very, very less. From the central level, not much ordinances have been coming these days. Because again, to avoid controversy, to avoid a conflict-prone political environment, central government is trying at their level best not to go for the ordinance route. They have come under a lot of criticism, even from the judiciary. So it has been toned down. Any doubts so far? So what was that amendment about? The Delhi Amendment, controversial National Capital Territory Amendment Ordinance, which the center issued. It overturned a Supreme Court judgment which noted that the Delhi government can make laws and administer civil services in the national capital. We'll take it up in detail when I'm discussing the lieutenant governor and central government issues. There we will discuss it in detail. Basically what it meant was, Supreme Court said that Delhi government has every right to control its civil servants. That is the rule that is the ruling what Supreme Court gave. Center, not liking the Supreme Court ruling, passed an ordinance overturning it. Means control of the civil servants in Delhi, the national capital region, will lie with the union government. Means what? Delhi government will not have any control over the officers, neither transfer them, their appointment, nothing. So automatically imagine, if I am the Chief Minister of Delhi, Abarna is an IAS officer working under me. Will she even listen to me? Because her transfer, her posting lies with the central government. And I know it and she knows it very well that I am the Delhi Chief Minister. The Union Government of India doesn't like me at all. Will she have to listen to me? I cannot take one single disciplinary action against her. Automatically, what will happen? She will only listen to the union government. She will never listen to me. More on this we will take up when we discuss lieutenant governor issue. Ordinances have become more frequent under the NDA government's current term as compared to the 10 years of UPA. In the 2020 so far, an average of 7.7 ordinances have been issued per year, higher than in the 2000s, but still well below the rate that prevailed between the 70s and 90s. The problem with the ordinance provision in the constitution is that both the center and states have frequently misused it despite several Supreme Court rulings to the contrary. Repeatedly, Supreme Court has been telling, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Has the center stopped? No. Has the state stopped? No. Now here, if you one may read it, they may feel, oh, BJP, NDA, very bad government. Wait, when you look at the other Congress-ruled states or other opposition party-ruled states, you will find things are even more worse than at the center. In many cases, the ordinances were used despite little indication that there was any pressing need for them, and ordinances have been frequently reissued repeatedly to prevent their legal provisions from lapsing. An ordinance lapses if it is not passed by the legislature within the time period prescribed above. Prescribed above means that 6 months, what is that provision? So, ordinance, once you are issuing it, be it center, be it state, it needs to be approved by the parliament at the center or the legislative assembly at the state. Center, we saw, center is reissuing even after Supreme Court ruling. What about states? States are also doing the same thing. At times, states have issued ordinances more often than center. In the three-year period from 2019 to 2021, the state of Kerala issued 286 ordinances. How much? 286. I had to read that sentence twice just to confirm myself that is this even possible? It is true. It is absolutely true. This is the most by any state in this period, and this is despite that Kerala Assembly convening for more days in 2021 than any other state assembly. Normally, this trend of more ordinances at state level we see when the assembly convening, that is parliament, just like how we are having budget session, monsoon session, winter session, 3 sessions are there. Similarly, state assemblies also are supposed to convene. In that again, Kerala's is the highest. It is the state with the highest number of convening sessions. In spite of that, Kerala takes the lead in the highest number of ordinance issued in the 3-year period from 2019 to 2021. Other big issuers of ordinances during this period were Maharashtra 63, Andhra Pradesh 45, Uttar Pradesh 41. Again, if you look at the governments that were in power at those time period, you will understand that all the political parties in this particular department are one and the same. Because it is the easy route. This is the classic case of what I was telling you. That is, people are generally okay with domination. People are generally okay with it. Domination, not compromise, not integration. In all these cases, what is the reason why they were able to do it? Let's not use the word criminal majority, but huge majority in the legislature. The government has a huge majority in the legislature and the opposition is weak, then the result is domination by ordinance. Getting the point here. This is what our MP Mary Parker Foley was talking about. People are generally used to domination and they are quite comfortable with it. In such a scenario, you cannot do anything. You won't be able to do anything. Getting the point here. When the opposition is not ready to question or when the opposition is not able to threaten the government, what will the judiciary do? Nothing again. Clear? The other big problem with ordinances is repeated reissuance. 1970, Kavasji Cooper versus Union of India case, the Apex Court said that judicial intervention can be there to check the arbitrariness of the satisfaction of the ordinance issuing authority. That is, Judiciary will intervene to check the arbitrariness, whether governor or president has just simply issued the ordinance, manmani. That is, there is no pressing need. There is already assembly session going on, or there is a parliament session going on, still you went for the ordinance route. Judiciary can put a check. Then repromulgation of ordinance, Bihar sugarcane regulation of supply and purchase ordinance, which was in effect for more than 13 years instead of 7.5 months. 7.5 months is the minimum time period. In all, 256 ordinances were thus misused between 1967 and 1981. DC Vadva versus State of Bihar case 1987, the Supreme Court termed repromulgation of ordinance as constitutional fraud. Since 1987, they are telling the same thing. They said the same thing in 2017. Is it stopping anybody from doing it? No. State level, central level, it is going on happening. That is what we are witnessing. Clear, people? So this is a clear example of the fact that we are used to domination. Getting the point here. Judicial accountability as a system in our country has its own set of weaknesses. And what is the weakness? If the government on the opposite side, be it at state level, be it at union level, if they have the major numbers, that is, they have a very good majority at the parliament or at the state legislative assembly, judiciary has got very little role there. Judiciary won't be able to stop them only. Getting the point here, because who should be stopping them? The opposition ideally, but opposition has very less numbers there. When opposition has very less numbers, it becomes very difficult to get anything to stop the government from doing anything. Got the picture here? Taking it further forward. Krishna Kumar Singh versus State of Bihar 2017. A 7-judge constitution bench by a majority of 6-1 held that repromulgation is constitutionally impermissible and defeats constitutional scheme under which a limited power to frame ordinances has been conferred upon the president and the governor of the states. Supreme Court said that the requirement of laying an ordinance before parliament or state legislature is a mandatory constitutional obligation cast upon the government. Legislation by ordinances is not an ordinary source of lawmaking, but is intended to meet extraordinary situations of an emergent nature during the recess of the legislature. That means ordinance route is actually part of your unprogrammed decisions. Unprogrammed decision making. That is what the Constitution says. But what is really happening here? Governments have made it part of program decision making. That is why Supreme Court is angry with it. Constitution is very clear. Use it sparingly. Use it only when there is a demand. But what is the government doing? Issue. Otherwise, imagine 286 ordinances in 3 years. That too from a state which is actually known to be good in public administration. Then, getting the picture here. So this is the thing. This is the thing. Any questions? Any doubts? So, we are calling it a day right here, people. Any queries are there, please put it up in my Telegram channel. We'll be continuing with this discussion tomorrow. I hope you already aware that tomorrow you're having a special class. All right. Just so that we can wind up the syllabus. And I don't want to keep a class on Sunday. So at least for next couple of weeks at least, till our syllabus gets wound up, we will be having special class on Saturdays. Okay. I'm informing this in advance. So all right, people, let's call it a day. Take care.